Hey, Miami sports fans. Stop by Canesware today at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. And check out their awesome merchandise selection of your favorite South Florida sports teams. From the Miami Dolphins, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Florida Panthers, and Inter Miami, they've got it all. Celebrate your favorite team and show off your fandom with their beautiful team starter jackets, killer-looking helmets, team jerseys, cool shirts, and more. And if you're out of town or out of state, no worries. Go to caneswear.com and find everything they have on their site. Select what you want, and they will ship your gear to you. Anything over $99 is shipped for free. Don't wait. Stop at Caneswear today.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And
all right, as always, Dolphins number one, baby!
So fins up to all you guys. Thank you for
I just want everybody to remember, we may not always agree on everything Miami Dolphins, but there's one thing we do agree on. We are all Dolphin fans. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk Fins Talk. I'm your host, Steve Malloy, and joining me tonight, Mike's co-host, DGLIVE. How you doing, brother?
Sir. I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm just trying to hang in there, the off season. It's been kind of quiet. I mean, there's been a few things, and we'll get to that. We'll talk about some of the moves the Dolphins have made and things of that nature. But yeah, I'm just trying to hang in there, man. But hey, DG, tell me what you got going on in your channel, DG Live.
Well, I got a lot of stuff going on. I haven't been on live in a long time. I have my own stuff that I worry about. We just had that conversation off of this live in regards to working out. You gotta focus on the important stuff. Your family, your health, all that. So, but I still post on my YouTube channel. I still do my Miami Dolphins stuff, but I got investments coming. I do want to get into reaction videos, gaming. I do have some workouts coming, music. So, I really want to branch off into different things. But, based off my name, Dolphin Gang, DG, no matter what, until the death of me. With Tua, if we had Bryce Young, I'll still be a Dolphin fan. It don't matter.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I want to thank everybody for joining us in the chat tonight. I see Mark's in there, Lawrence, a lot of new folks in there. I see California. How you doing, brother? Haven't seen you in there in a while. Bobby's in here. Appreciate you. Danielle.
What's good, Bobby?
Yeah, Daniel, appreciate you for joining, brother. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody that's joined the chat tonight. And remember, we may not always agree everything, Miami Dolphins. But there's one thing I can say is, hey, we're all Dolphins, right?
Exactly. No matter what.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, basically. I do want to mention a lot of folks are probably wondering where Rob is, Dolphin Thirsty. He is in the background, folks. He's producing tonight. He's been sick, and I appreciate him standing tall and hanging in there. And I know he's not feeling well, and I appreciate him for producing tonight. So thank you, Rob. So DG, I just wanted, can I call you George?
Yeah, you can call me George. No matter.
All right, I'll call you George, okay? Because it's hard for me to say DJ.
Yeah, DG.
DG, see, for some odd and unknown reason. But anyway, the reason why I got you on tonight is because I know you're more up to date on some of the prospects, the draft prospects, and some of the free agencies and things like that. And before we get started on that, the Dolphins have cut Jerome Baker, the linebacker that was with us for some time. They've also cut Keon Crossing, who was a special teams ace and he filled in here and there, but no big loss really in that respect with Keon Crossing. And I know a lot of folks like Jerome Baker. He was a solid linebacker for us. He did his job. He was nothing special, but he did his job. And and I think the reason they made that cut is, number one, he was making a lot of money, money
Exactly.
that for his play, his performance just wasn't adding up. So they basically cut him. We've got a lot of holes to fill, George, on this team. Thus far, we've cut Christian. Well, we haven't cut him, but we're going to let Christian Wilkins test free agency. So to me, I'm going to say he's gone. How about you?
Man, it's sad to see these players go, man. It's sad. I know it has to happen, but Jerome Baker, he's a legend in my eyes. Based off like when I started like really watching the Miami Dolphins, I seen him get drafted. I seen the potential. He's a very, very fast linebacker. He basically is what you want in today's NFL. A real fast linebacker, but it just seems like he's not up to par as to what we could actually get. That money that he was getting compared to the production that we was getting from him, it was a little iffy. So that's very understandable in regards to Jerome Baker, Christian Wilkins. Like off the field, you don't want to get rid of him based off what he provides.
Right.
You don't. Like that's why it's so like out of everybody, I would want Christian Wilkins to stay, but in regards to money, like I gotta wear my heart on my sleeve and let you know, like I really love you, Christian, but we gotta let you go. To be honest, like draft, there's a lot of D tackles I like. If there wasn't a lot of D tackles, then I would be like, okay, let's keep Christian. But even in free agency, you got Fletcher Cox. Who else you have that are free agents? You could let me know. But Tavondre Sweat, I like him. In the draft. There's just a lot of people, man. If I feel like you're replaceable, then that's when I will replace you. So that's what he's doing right now. Jerome Baker, he out. He probably gonna get somebody in free agency or the draft. Same thing for Christian. So in my honest opinion, I just want more draft picks. I don't know who we gonna sell for those draft picks, but it just seems like it might be Christian. We're gonna tag him and trade him.
Right. Well, I don't know if they can tag Christian. I think it didn't the deadline wasn't the deadline.
Oh, yeah, the deadline passed. Okay,
so the deadline passed. So he's a free agent for sure. He's going to be testing the market. But I agree. Christian Wilkins was a great, not great, but he was a good, solid defensive tackle. Had his best year as far as sacks go was this year with the Vic Fangio system. For the money that he's asking, no, I would not pay him that. He only had that one good year as far as sacks go. And to be honest, and I know a lot of folks may not agree with me. A lot of folks will say, well, salt and pepper, man, you got to have them both together. And there a lot of folks might say that maybe Christian Wilkins took on a lot of double teams, and therefore that's why Zach Sealer was, had played so well. Well, Zach Sealer has been playing consistently, and playing the performance that Zach Sealer has been doing has been on par with Christian Wilkins, and he's making what? He's not making half of what Christian Wilkins was demanding. Now I know Christian Wilkins was a higher draft choice and everything like that, and we poached Zach Sealer off the Baltimore Ravens practice squad, but still, he's on par as far as performance goes with Christian Wilkins. Now Christian Wilkins, of course, he was the captain of the team. He's the jolly guy. He's the guy who goes down there and high fives everybody when they score and all that. That's the kind of guy you want on your team. I get it. But for the money that he was demanding, I don't see it. Chris Grier should have signed him up last year or 2 years ago. They should, or maybe 2 years ago, they should have given him an extension, and we'd still have him on our team. But anyway, so we got Christian Wilkins. He's going to be walking. more than likely. Jerome Baker, Keon Crossing. Who else did we let go on defense yet? Am I missing somebody? Who?
No, I don't think you're missing anybody as of right
No,
now.
I don't think I am. But here are the folks that I think we need to sign. Okay. Whether we do that or not is the question. You know, AVG. We got to sign AVG. I think we got to sign him and get him back on our team. He's a solid player. He's a motor. He can play all, different positions. He can play linebacker. He can play edge. He filled in for Jalen Phillips, did a really, really good job, with him when he was hurt. And I think we need to sign him. And I think we should go on ahead and just sign Deshaun Elliott as well. Now, are these guys superstars, all pros? No, but they're solid players and played really well for us, last year. So those are the guys I think we should sign. And you want to put in, Brandon Jones, maybe Nick Needham, but we can't sign all these guys. You got Eli Apple, you've got Justin Bethel. Well, Justin Bethel, I believe he's going to be a cut. Elijah Campbell's probably going to be a cut. But those are 10 right there that have contributed to this defense that more than likely may not be with this defense next year. How do you feel about that?
I feel like we have a lot of players that has already reached like the peak of their careers, and we're at the point where we don't have enough money to give money out to those players. We might do it here and there during free agency. We're going to bring a few veterans in, but at the same time, this team needs youth. We need to bank on the value of a draft pick. Guys who not getting paid a lot of money, but maybe in their second year, their third year, they end up being all pro players. But I don't have that much faith in Chris Grier to draft that. Those like the Chiefs. I don't expect them to do what the Chiefs do. I'm not expecting that from him, but at the same time, our team right now, as to what we really need, that's what we really need. I don't mind all the players leaving. I understand with the cap space. I'm gonna miss all them guys, man. But right now, I see where this team going. Like last offseason when we got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey, I was walking around all happy and stuff. Like, man, my team gonna be good. We might go to the Super Bowl this year. This year is like, I don't know. I'm waiting to see what moves we make. And then with the draft, I'm waiting to see if Chris Grier does the right thing. And if he does, then I'm going to have that confidence again. But as of right now, I'm still iffy in regards to what Chris Grier actually does. As I'm okay with Jerome. He gone. Xavier, I understand. They might come back. But, we going to see. We going to see.
Yeah, I don't think Xavier Howard's going to come back. I just don't. And to be quite frank with you, Xavier Howard – the last 2 years, he hasn't been himself, No. Do you realize that Xavier Howard he's only played 3 full seasons out of 8 for the Miami Dolphins?
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Out of 8 seasons, he's only had 3 full seasons. And then, of course, he had that a really good year. We had those 10 interceptions. But after that, it was a big drop-off, a decline. So he's been declining for definitely the last couple of years. So I don't think he's going to be so much of a loss, as a lot of folks I know like Xavier Howard. But here's the deal. Is Cam Smith going to be our starter?
We have no choice now. We got it. We cannot waste that draft pick that we wasted on Cam Smith. We could have got somebody else. We could have got another old lineman. We could have got, if we had got a right guard and we didn't have to worry about Robert Hunt leaving, I would have been fine with that. But he would have cost the same amount of money that we about to get in June, that $18 million. So
right, $18 million.
I'd rather that $18 million than the other way around. So, Cam Smith, I understand the pick. We're trying to replace Xavier Howard, but what happened to Noah? Like, that's the main.
He was the replacement. He was supposed to be the replacement for Xavier Howard, and then Vic Fangio didn't feel that Cam Smith was able to start.
No, I don't believe that right there. I don't believe
You don't
that.
believe that?
No, I don't believe that.
What did you follow him in college? Did you know of him in college?
Yeah, I kind of knew of him in college, going up against my Gators. I'm a Gator fan. But it wasn't to the point where like I was keeping my eye out like closely for him. I was focusing on the bigger prospects, like I forgot who came out of his draft class that ended up being good. I don't recall, but with Cam Smith, he showed all the intangibles. He has the speed,
Right.
he has the agility, he has a good 10-yard split, so he could go sideline to sideline. He could show that he could tackle, run game, the pass game. He seemed like he has instincts. He's not waiting around for the ball. He's gonna go get that ball, and he seemed like he'd go out there and talk trash. And on top of that, I see the type of cornerback that Jalen Ramsey is. He's like somebody that I think that every cornerback room needs because of the type of cornerback he is. He won a Super Bowl, all pro, so I feel like with the type of talent Cam Smith has, it's just going to translate as to what he's going to learn from Jalen Ramsey. And then we're going to bring other corners as well. All of them going to get groomed up by Jalen Ramsey. Last year we had X and Jalen. I don't know how you do not end up being good after that. If Cam Smith is not good after being coached up by Jalen and Xavier, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna see this year for sure what he's got. I know last year, he didn't get he played. I think he got hurt a couple of times. He got hurt in training camp, in the camp, and then he also got hurt in the game when I think they put him in and he got hurt in the game. So he had some injuries, that could have stunted his growth, I guess you could say. Maybe he didn't get a lot of opportunities. And I get it. Vic Fangio was a guy who didn't like to play a lot of young players. I guess he didn't trust the young players. I get it. It's his system. That's the way he ran it. I mean, that's just his style. You're not going to change that. And I know Ramsey and had some stuff to say about Fangio and all that stuff. I get it, but and I know somebody brought in the comments. I see in the comments Cliff, he said that Cam Smith has a terrible work ethic. Well, I don't know if that's the case here with the Miami Dolphins. If he had a terrible work ethic or not, maybe. I know that it was put in his profile, his college profile. Because I know Dallas was looking at him. A few teams were looking at him. And when I went back and looked at some of the comments or some of the evaluations the team were making on Cam Smith, everything you said is pretty accurate, George. But I did notice there was one thing that was showing up on all the reports on him is his work ethic. He did not have a really good work ethic. I don't know if that was the case, because Vic Fangio's an old school guy. I don't know if that was the reason, from preventing him from playing or not. But we're going to see this year. I'm sure he's going to get his opportunity. Look, if here's how we're going to know if Vic Fangio was right. Okay. Well, number one, we're going to know when we see him play this year, because I know he's probably going to start unless this is another way that we're going to know that maybe he does have some problems with his work ethic, or he wasn't as, talented as everybody had projected, is if we bring in another cornerback and we're paying him anywhere near $7-8 million, he's not going to be starting. That's going to show you that they don't trust him. So that's going to be a telltale sign right there. So we'll see. I mean, time will tell. We got free agency coming up here soon, and then of course we have the draft. Now, as far as I know, Britt Legacy's high on getting a all around linebacker, or linebacker that can play in coverage, and I am too. Of course, I know we all would like that. Somebody that's an all-around guy. It can stop. It can play the run. It can play the pass. Is there anybody in the draft that you've been evaluating that might fit that mold?
Yeah, I've been evaluating a lot of prospects, and with me, when it comes to evaluations, I evaluate players just so I can make sure like they don't let me down. There's like no red flags that I see in the players. So like first I'll go watch the film. I see what everybody has to say about them. And then I go do a little bit of research and see like what type of person they are. Like, I have a few linebackers. One of them is Trevin Wallace out of Kentucky. I really like him, one of those Georgia linebackers. Roquan Smith, he's from Georgia. So I'm looking at what Anthony Weaver did with the Baltimore Ravens and how could we implement that into what we're doing right now. First things first, I feel like those two linebackers ran that whole defense. Jadavion Clowney, he did his thing with the defense. Odafe Owe, they had a good D tackle that had 20 sacks. Matabuke.
Yeah, he had a lot of sacks. I think it was 17 or 20. You might be right. Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. It was high.
So I'm looking at what the Ravens did and what was the main piece that made that defense go, and it was the linebackers. But
Queen,
Roquan Smith, and they had another rookie back there as well, Trenton Simpson. He didn't play too much this year, but at least he played. Unlike Channing Tindall, he was
right, and that's another one. Now that's been two coaches that haven't had him play.
Come on,
Fangio and Boyle. So I'm about ready to say he's a bust.
I mean, I don't mind it either. I kind of sensed it when we drafted him, and I went to go look at his press conferences. I'm like, let me see how he sound, like his demeanor, but he don't sound like how a linebacker should sound. Like I'll listen to Fred Warner, I listen to Roquan Smith, and I listen to all these other good linebackers. Then I listen to Channing Tindall. I'm like, ain't no way this guy's gonna be a leader. He's just not gonna be a leader. He has all the athletic traits that we want from a linebacker, but he's just not gonna be able to lead our linebacker. And we thank God we have David Long, but we can't trust him to be healthy.
No, and he's inconsistent. I like David Long, but he's inconsistent and he's not very good in pass coverage. He's dynamite on run stopping, but in the pass coverage he's not really good, and he's inconsistent as well. Sometimes, in my opinion, he plays a little erratic at times. I don't know if he overruns the plays or whatever, but sometimes I just don't see him. He's just not. He's not consistent. That's all I can say about him. But I do like him, and I think we're going to keep him. He's still under contract, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we're going to keep along. And I have a tendency to agree with you, George. I think the Miami Dolphins are going. Well, they're going to have to. I think they're going to be forced to. I would like to see them drop down in the draft. Right. And I like to see them acquire a couple more picks, because I think we're going to have to get a dose of some youth in our team this year. Not only financially, wise, but we're going to have to start developing some young guys, even getting some free agents, maybe some young free agent guys, on the cheap, and develop them. That's the only way that I can see that we're going to be able to get out of this mess that we're in. And then there's no guarantee that these guys are going to, they're going to perform like we expect. Maybe a year or two. So who knows? What do you think of Anthony Weaver? I didn't ask you about him. What's your take on him? What did you like his media day and all that when he was speaking, his philosophy and stuff?
Steve, I'm a very optimistic person. Very optimistic. I like to give everybody a chance before I judge you. We did this back to back. We can't sustain one defensive coordinator for 1 year. It's like, it's kind of like when you've been through so many relationships, the next one you're like, man, I know this one's not gonna work. But I want it to work. We had a good time. I listened to him. He sounds good. He looked the part. He sounded the part. It seemed like, he could hang out with the guys outside of football. With Big Fangio,
that's the problem, man. That's the problem, George. That's a key point you made right there. He can hang out with the boys.
Exactly.
I don't mind hanging out with the boys. I get it. He was a player and everything. Maybe the players can relate to him in that respect, and he's going to be down on the field and all that kind of stuff. All right, that's all great. But if you're going to try to, if you're going to change your colors, right? If you're going to change your colors just to fit in to this organization, you know, because that's the, you know, you're going to change your personality, the way you do things just to fit in, then he's not the guy for us, man. And that's the reason why I think they got rid of Vic Fangio. I don't think they say it was a mutual, you know, parting ways and everything. I think it's more to the story than that. I'm not trying to start any conspiracy theory, anything like that. Just my opinion. I think there's more to the story, and I think he wasn't willing to bend. He wasn't willing to change his colors or his ways, and he was going. You know, he was just gonna do his, you know, do what he do the way that he's been doing things for 35, 40 years, and they didn't like that. And I think the Dolphins organization, I think they are a little soft. Now, look, I know they're all football players and everything. You know, calling the football players soft is kind of sounds kind of corny, right? But I think everybody knows what I mean. They're you know, they're not a very physical team. And they even asked McDaniel at one of the, and I didn't hear the whole press conference when they were talking to him, but he even said that they could probably be a little more physical. He even admitted, you know, they're going to try to be a little more physical. They could be. If that's the case, I don't know if that's what Anthony Weaver brings to this defense. We'll see. But how about the offense?
Yeah, you know.
So
I feel like it worked both ways. It worked like it starts from the inside out. You know, when somebody talks about you being tough, you know, it's not about how you look like. It's about the heart that you have. And then the heart of a football team, like when you're watching that game, when the ball snap, you just seeing those 5-on-5. That's where it all starts. If those 5 block long enough for Tua, he's going to be able to throw those touchdowns that you guys want to see. If those 4 or 5 get to the backfield and get to the quarterback, they're not going to have a chance to throw touchdowns. So that's like the main spot that I'm focused on in regards to free agency and draft. I'm hoping we allocate good enough money to those positions. I'm hoping we don't overspend, but at the same time, you know, that's the main spot where we need to be taken care of. And after that, I feel like everything else is just going to work for Tua. You know, the defense is just going to be perfect. That's what I'm waiting on.
Yeah, he makes a good point here. Anthony makes a good point. He says he thinks the Shanahan scheme in general doesn't rely on their players to be physical on the offensive side. I don't know. I don't know. Look at San Francisco. San Francisco 49ers can be pretty doggone physical if they need to be. If they need to be, they can be a physical team.
You know, I was just watching film on those guys. You know, with their team, I feel like they're more equipped for that physicality. Like with Deebo Samuel, that's the type of receiver he is. Tyreek Hill, he's not Deebo. You know, he could be like, you know, Tyreek Hill. He big. I'm not even gonna lie. Like Tyreek Hill, I seen him bench 315 one time. He's a big receiver.
Yeah, I saw him in person, up close and in person. You know, he's bigger than what you think he is. You know, but then like, all NFL players are bigger than what you think they are.
You know, but I don't want Tyreek to go out there and you know, sometimes I'll be watching our game plans and I'll be seeing Tyreek Hill blocking the ends, you know, blocking people that he shouldn't be blocking. Like, you know, I understand that's what the offense requires, but I don't want Tyreek Hill doing that every time. But yeah, Tyreek Hill, he the only player that we really have. And, you know, we could use Tyreek Hill everywhere, but then after Waddle, who else we gonna put out there? Like a defense gonna know that's the weak spot. So boom, we already gonna put our other good corner where my bad. We already gonna put where our other good where Tyreek Hill is. You're gonna put our good corner right there. Then the other one, Cedric Wilson, Braxton Berrios, easy competition. So that's why, like, I feel like with sometimes with Tyreek Hill, that's why he couldn't really go off like he really needed to. You know, and most of the time, like, it was either Tyreek Hill was hurt or Jalen Waddle was hurt. Most of the time, it was either Jalen Ramsey was hurt or Xavier Howard was hurt. So the two main people that we relied on defense and offense were in and out. We never had both of them at the same time. Never. That's why I noticed.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point. But here's the thing too, is Tyreek Hill was getting manhandled in that Kansas City game. I don't know if you saw that. He was getting manhandled. And that's the thing is when the Miami Dolphins played good defenses that could match up personnel wise, and they had a good defensive coordinator, and they played man press coverage, not man press coverage, meaning getting physical at the line or whatnot, getting physical with our receivers. We lost those games.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And if you look at the stats, I'm not saying stats say everything about the team, but most of the time, or not most of the time, all the time, if you go back and look at the 6 games that the Miami Dolphins lost, Tyreek had under 100 yards. Mm-hmm. Under. Both him and Waddle at times, under 100 yards. And we lost those games. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what McDaniel's going to do. I don't, I don't think he's going to change the scheme at this point. Mm-hmm. And I know that Tua Tagovailoa got a new quarterback coach and everything. I don't know if a quarterback coach is going to help Tua Tagovailoa win big games.
Yeah,
I don't think the new quarterback coach is going to help Tua Tagovailoa create off script and run, because the organization, I don't believe, is going to let him run because of his injury history.
Injuries. Everybody want him to be a running quarterback. Everybody want him to do that because they seeing like that's what's successful in the league nowadays. Like I was watching the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, nothing was getting open for him. What he started doing, he started running. He's a running quarterback, but he's not a running quarterback, but he could do it if he has to.
Right. He's mobile. He's mobile. He's a mobile quarterback. He can create off script. Man, Mahomes he's just in another league of himself, man. He's out there playing sandlot football for real. I mean, he's out there playing sandlot football at times. Things break down. He makes things, man. He creates things. He makes it happen. But anyway, we know what his limitations are and all that. And to be honest with you, I if they pay Tua Tagovailoa a big bag, they're making a big mistake, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's just going to be a big mistake. It's going to put this team in even worse. I know everybody says, well, we're doing it for the cap. We're going to do it for the cap. No, I don't think they're doing it for the cap. I think they're doing it because Chris Grier drafted him at number 5, and he doesn't want to admit that he made a mistake in drafting a quarterback. That's why they're going to pay him the bag. It's not because of – come on. There's, you watch the games just as much as I do, man. I mean, I'm sure they do too, right? They see what his limitations are. McDaniel knows what his limitations are. Mm-hmm. And you're going to pay this man the money? I don't know. To be honest with you, what do you think, George? You think they're going to pay him the bag, or would you? Do you want them to pay the bag, or would you rather see him play on his 5th-year option?
I'd rather see him play on his 5th-year option. See how he does this year. If he improves, then he gonna deserve some type of bag. But if he regresses, I just feel like. Mike McDaniel's job is at jeopardy because of Tua, and I don't want that to happen. Like, I know Mike McDaniel, like, if he gets fired and goes to another team, he's gonna be able to develop another quarterback, and he could probably win a playoff game with that type of quarterback. That's why I be waking up out my sleep dreaming about stuff like that. I'm like, man, we can't let that happen. We cannot let that happen. But I'm not saying I don't like Tua and all of that. I understand with the problems that he has during the game. He can't he could find the open people, but it's just like, I just don't want everybody to lose their job because of Tua. So this year really has to be the year, but it feels like we're forced into this year being the year because of everything that transpired. Like, First year we had excuses. Second year we had excuses. Third year, you know, hopefully we don't have excuses, but I know we're gonna make up something. We're gonna make up something. First year with DC, you know, something's gonna pop up. You know,
for sure. And Anthony Weaver, if he does do well, you know, he gets our defense in the top 15, top 10. He'll probably be gone next year because he was interviewed for a coaching position, so he may just be a 1-year rental anyway. But anyway, I digress. I went back to the defense. We were talking offense, but yeah, I look, Tua Tagovailoa is not a bad quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. I just don't, in my opinion, I just don't think he's the guy that's going to take us to the promised land. That's all. He needs too much around him, and you sign him to a big deal, and we don't even make the playoffs this year, or he gets hurt, and you sign him that big contract. We're on the hook for 2-3 years or more. And you're not going to be able to have – we're already losing players. What do you think is going to happen if we sign the big deal? This year we might be able to sign some of the players, you know, because we're going to save a little money and on the cap and all that kind of stuff. But next year it's going to be hell to pay because we're not going to have all those players that he has now around him. We're not. But let's talk about the offense a little bit and get off the Tua topic. But so for you want him to get the big bag, or would you like him to play on his 5th-year option?
Just play on that 5th-year option. See what he provides. If he ends up getting hurt, then we get to see what the backup could provide. You know, if it's, you know, me, I'm liking Joe Milton. You know, like he's not gonna come and take Tua's spot, but he's gonna at least push Tua. But he's not going to cost a lot of money for us to go sign a backup quarterback. I understand, like Russell Wilson, if he takes $1 million, I don't mind bringing him in to be the backup.
Exactly. You know? And I was going to ask you that. I was going to say, would you rather bring in like a Fields, a Justin Fields, a Russell Wilson? You got Kirk Cousins. I think, I don't know. I don't recall if Baker Mayfield signed with Tampa again or not.
Not yet.
Right. But or would you rather trade down and maybe get like a Michael Penix in the 2nd round or something like that? You think he's going to go in the 2nd round?
Man, like with the top quarterbacks, I don't see us investing so early into them. You know, I like them, but I don't know if Chris Grier would do that. Especially if he signed to a contract. If he don't sign to a contract, I can see that. You know, but if he does, then, you know, I don't think he's going to spend a high draft pick on a quarterback.
I agree.
That's why I said Russell Wilson. We don't have to trade for him. We can keep all of our picks. True. And we don't have to pay him too much money to be a backup. And, you know, he's going to be formidable out there. Like, he beat good teams with the Broncos. The Bills, the Chiefs, the Browns.
I don't think Russell Wilson's lost the beat at all, to be honest with you. I think he was just in a bad system. He just wasn't in the right system, you know. But and for $1 million, a guy that's won a Super Bowl, even as a backup. Now I don't know if he would even consider that, but I don't know.
I think at this point he has to. Like, what other jobs is available to him?
That's true. That's true. I mean, as far as starting position, because I think
Falcons.
Steelers or Falcons, or maybe Raiders.
Maybe the Raiders. Good option.
Yeah,
you know.
So well, let's talk a little bit about the offense, because the offensive line. We already know that in a defense we're not going to have Bradley Chubb or Jalen Phillips in the beginning of the year. So what are we going to do there? That's just another question mark, another hole that we've got to fill. Crazy. But on the offensive line, well, we've got even Mike McDaniel was talking about Terron Armstead. They asked him, you know, and he said he doesn't even know what Terron Armstead is going to do. You know, we've heard conflicting reports. He said he was, and he said he wasn't. Now McDaniel says he doesn't know. So you know what? If Terran Armstead retires, I wouldn't be a bit unhappy at all. You know, he only played 10 games last year, I think. I think he only played 10 games. 10. 10. I think it was 10 games last year, something like that. And the year before that, he only played I think he played like 12 or 13 games, right? So he's declined, and he's not getting any younger. And he had more injuries last year. He had like 4 or 5 different injuries that he was playing with. Now, the guy's super. When he's playing, he's elite, no doubt about it. But the money we're paying him, again, we're paying him big money to sit on the bench, hurt. You know, and now he's contemplating retirement. So you know that's going through his mind, right? So what's he going to be like on the field next year? And I'm not saying he's not going to perform, but he was thinking about it, and he's had those injuries. So anyway, so we don't know about Terran Armstead, right? He's kind of up in the air right now. Well, we already know what's going to happen with Robert Hunt. He's going to test the market, right?
He's going somewhere else. He's going somewhere else.
Connor Williams' agents already said he's going somewhere else, and he was hurt. We don't even know what he's going to, what he's going to come back like anyway. But he was a top 5 center at one point. He was number 1 in the league. So we're losing those 3 studs, right? Wynn, we're losing. We can get him. We can easily replace Wynn, I think, but we're still losing him. Who do we have but Liam Eichenberg? Kendall Lamb's a free agent as well. Are we going to re-sign him? He played solid as a backup, but and then everybody's saying, yeah, we got to solidify this line, man. We got to work. We got to get a better offensive line this year. How? How are we going to do it? Who's going to replace Hunt? Are we going to get a guy to come in and fill Hunt? He's been solid for us for 3-4 years, right? We had Connor Williams, the best center. Go ahead and draft a center. Is he going to perform like Connor Williams? Is that a guarantee?
Probably not.
So as far as solidifying the offensive line or having a better offensive line this year, you might as well throw that out the window. So that's why I say I do not think that Mike McDaniel is going to change his scheme up anytime soon. It's going to be 1-2, throw the ball in 2.3, 2.5 seconds.
I mean, but one thing about it, based off who Mike McDaniel gets in free agency and in the draft, he's going to have to do whatever those players are good at. Like, if we're unable to get those athletic old linemen on the team to where you could run that type of scheme like you like to run, like that outside zone.
Right.
It's never like man on man, just beat your man one-on-one with our offense. It's like we always trying to trick you. Maybe that's because of Tua's limitations as to the point where we think that he can't dice up a defense. We got to trick him with Tyreek Hill running to the other side or Jalen Waddle coming around to the other side, but we can't really be doing that too much. We gotta show defenses like we could do everything in the book, not just one thing,
I agree. So with that in mind, knowing that we may not, have even the offensive line that we had last year. Now, let me ask you this real quick before I get to my next question. But do you think that the offensive line, I know a lot of people say, well, if the offensive line played, they played, some people say they played pretty good. They played real well, and they were praising Butch Berry and all that kind of stuff. Do you think do you give the credit to Butch Berry or the Mike McDaniel scheme and Tua getting the ball out quick? Or maybe a combination. I don't know. Or do you think it's all Butch Berry? He's developed this team. He's put the scheme together and all this kind of stuff. Because you got to remember, he wasn't dealing with rookies. He was dealing with veterans. So I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, the only thing that's keeping me sane about Butch Berry is Austin Jackson. But there's a chance that we go into next season and Austin Jackson is our best O-lineman. There's a chance that could be possible, and that don't look too good. And the last time Austin Jackson was our best O-lineman, Tua wasn't playing too well as a rookie, his second year. That's who he had as an O-line. and we're gonna go right back to that. Like that just worries me right there. Like,
yeah, it does me too. Now I know a lot of folks say Austin Jackson, he played well and all that. Not really. He played serviceable.
Serviceable, yeah, exactly.
He played serviceable. Okay, he wasn't out there, knocking people down and stuff like that. He was playing serviceable. And when you have been training and conditioned yourself to block your man for 2.3 seconds, that's not hard to do. You really just have to stand in front of the guy, right? There's not really much to it. I mean, I know there's more to it than I'm leading on to it to be, but what my point is, it's not like he was trying to block his man for most, quarterbacks are getting 3-4. They're, getting rid of the ball in 3 to 4 seconds. And if you watch when Tua was getting the ball off in like 2.6, 2.7 seconds, if he had held the ball for a little longer than we normally did, he was getting pressured.
He was getting pressured. He was getting back there.
When he couldn't find anybody open, right? He was getting the pressure, and I think that's the problem, man. That's the problem that we're going to have this year as well, I think. And unless he can fix one thing he's got to fix, and maybe the quarterback coach can help him fix. Can he get him to process the field as opposed to just looking for that first read and letting the ball fly? Because that's what McDaniel has him doing.
I think that's out of the water right now. That's out of the water because you see the value of these old linemen going up and up and up. And what does that tell you? That tells you like old linemen, they're gaining more rare, the good ones. So us knowing our quarterback, we know that he needs a good old line around him. But how we gonna be able to afford that if he gonna get paid all this money, knowing like you need a good old line? So that's what really worries me about this team, because I know we're not gonna be able to put an old line like the Chiefs have. Their tackles, they're all right, but with Patrick Mahomes, it don't really matter who your O-line is. He's gonna make something happen.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a thing too, is a lot of these quarterbacks, if you notice nowadays, they are mobile. And so therefore you don't need, like you did back in the day, the big O linemen, to hold their blocks and things like that. All you need is an O line that gives the quarterback enough time to throw the ball, and if he can't, he is capable of going off script and making something happen. And that's the way that the league is going, and unfortunately we don't have that. But anyway, let me ask you one more question before I let you go, George. And I want to thank everybody that's in the chat. I see Cap for Life joined us.
What's good, Cap?
How you doing, Cap?
What's good, everybody?
Yep. Rafi's in there. Rafi Boy's in there. Marks Adams is in there. California's still in there. Sea Devil's in there. All you guys, I thank you for joining us tonight, man. Appreciate it. Hit that like button if you haven't already. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We appreciate you joining the Fins Talk Sports Network and here on Real Talk Fins Talk. We're here every Tuesday night at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can join us. And especially throughout the off season, we'll be doing this throughout the off season and inviting special guests on. And then once a month, we're going to have our Tuesday therapy, where everybody can come on and join the panel. We'll have an open panel, and you can just let out all your frustrations and how you're feeling about this team. There you go. Yeah, I see you in there, Raphael. How you doing, brother?
What's good, Raphael?
I could worship Tua. How you doing, brother? Thanks for joining us tonight, man. But this is the last question I wanted to ask you, George, and I'll let you go. And I appreciate you coming on tonight, man. Appreciate you, brother. I know you work hard and everything, and you're taking time away from your family. Do you think that we should go out and get like Derrick Henry?
Good question.
Because there was talk about that last year, right? It was Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Cook. So we were talking that kind of stuff. Now, do you think Derrick Henry would be a good addition to this team?
Yeah, of course. I would think Derrick Henry would be a good addition. You know, he's from Florida, so when you're from Florida, I have like a special connection with you. But with the players from Florida, you know, I kind of don't trust them on our team because you already know how the life is over there in Miami.
Yeah, man, they know what's happening.
You know what's happening. So that's my only worry. But at the same time, you know, Derrick Henry, he would be a good fit. But how I feel about it, I think that fixing the old line first, then whatever running back comes to us, we should just take him. You know, Derrick Henry not the only one out there. DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Swift.
You know, and then we got a lot. You got Trey Benson from FSU. You got other running backs who was. There's a lot of running backs that I like in this draft. There's a lot of them. Marshawn Lloyd, Austin Jones, you name it. So we have a lot of options. And I feel like if we just fix that old line, it's going to make our options look good. Like with Devon A-Chain, you know, when we had our good old line out there, that's when you were seeing them go for 200 in one game. You know, when we had our whole starting old line.
That's true. Good point.
You know, I feel like putting Derrick Henry in our running back room, it might seem like it's going to help Devon A-Chain. But what about when Devon A-Chain goes in there and he has the same old line from last year? You know, same thing with Derrick Henry. I feel like with Derrick Henry, you know, you could stop him in the backfield, but once Derrick Henry get going, it's hard to stop. But we got to make sure we could help him get going. You know, we're not that hard-nosed football team that, you know, could make running lanes for Derrick Henry. Everything's outside zone, but we got to make sure we can hit people in their mouth and we can run that ball down the middle, just like what Derrick Henry good for, you know, so.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Derrick Henry is he all he needs is he doesn't need a big hole, you know. He just needs a little daylight and he can make the rest. You know, that he's a big body and he's fast.
Yeah, he's pretty fast.
He's big, fast, you know, guy. So yeah, I don't know. I know met somebody here who mentioned it. Mike Mars, how you doing, brother? Thanks for joining us tonight. He said Henry would want $9 million. Yeah, I don't know.
$9 million.
That's the thing, man. Is our money's is not looking good right now. So
it's real tight. It's real tight. So like
it's really tight.
You know, like I love Derrick Henry. I
do too.
But I just don't know about bringing him in. You know, I just feel like we should go in the draft, get somebody who would be like a perfect match with Devon A-Chain.
Oh, but we do have Chris Brooks. I forgot about him.
Chris Brooks.
Maybe he's. I know he was injured and he played that one game in Carolina and got hurt, but I don't know. Maybe he played some other games where he made some really good blocks too.
Yeah,
so
he did.
I don't know. Maybe he's a guy that we can watch too. I don't know.
Yeah, like, you know, with Devon A-Chain, he brings that speed element. You know, with Chris Brooks, he brings that power element. With that third running back, you want somebody who could bring everything all into one. I feel like, I feel like with Raheem Mostert, he took the offseason, he gained some weight to try to be that power running back that we needed.
Yeah.
You know, we thought we could get that from Jeff Wilson, but Jeff Wilson, he was getting hurt as well. Chris Brooks, he was getting hurt. So we didn't really have that power running back.
Mostert got hurt too.
Mostert got hurt. Even Devon A-Chain got hurt. You know,
but all our running backs got hurt.
All the running backs got hurt.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I forgot about that, man.
Who would you blame that though? Who would you blame that on?
As our running backs getting hurt?
Yeah, would you blame that on the offense? Would you blame that on the O-line? Like,
no, I mean, Mostert didn't get hurt because of the O-line, I don't think. Did he? And A-Chan just got lifted up and thrown to the ground. That one time I saw, but he's a little guy. Now, when people say, you know, some NFL players are bigger than what they are, he's not. He's a little guy. I'm a little guy. I'm 5'8", you know, I'm about 185, 190, and I'm about his size. You know, he's a little taller. He's probably an inch taller than I am, but he's not, by football standards and running backs, he's not a big man at all.
You know, and I've been hearing a lot of people saying we should go get Frank Gore's son. He's small as well. He's pretty much the same size as Devon Achane.
Yeah, he's 5'7".
5'7".
He's 5'7". Yeah. Yeah, he's not even as big as his dad was. As tall as his dad was anyway. But anyway. But George, I really appreciate you joining the show tonight, man. And I got you on here especially for that. I like your takes on the, you know, you have more, and we'll get you back on when it starts coming to closer to the draft and all that, because you're on top of your game when it comes to that kind of stuff, and I appreciate that. And I want to thank everybody again that's in the chat tonight. Hit that like button if you haven't already. If you're new to the channel, please, subscribe, and hey, share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors. Again, brother, I appreciate you, George, and we'll have you back on, man. Enjoy the rest of your week, brother.
Yes, I will. Same to you. Same to you, Steve. Is Rob somewhere around here?
He might be.
He might be.
And remember, Dolphins #1, baby. Dolphins #1.